Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. Thanks for joining us. This week we're going to be doing the cult classic comedy dramedy kind of deal, Being John Malkovich, starring John Cusack, Cameron Diaz, and John Malkovich, among others. For those of you joining us the first time, the B Movie Club is a place where I can talk about movies that maybe are a bit off the beaten path. Typically we talk about comedies, horror, sci-fi, action, adventure, basically movies I enjoy, and hopefully you do too. You can send me any movie suggestions, comments, questions, favorite quotes, favorite scenes. You can send them to Twitter at KD9575. You can post it on my Facebook page, or you can post it on my YouTube page at the B Movie Club. Being John Malkovich from 1999. Basically the plot is this. Craig Schwartz, played by John Cusack, is an unemployed puppeteer working with marionettes. He's very gifted. He's in kind of a loveless relationship, passionless relationship with his wife, played by Cameron Diaz. It's kind of funny because they both really frump them up, because they're both good-looking people, but they've made them look totally unattractive. Anyway, after being beaten up on the street, he realizes he has to get a regular job. So he looks in the classified ads and finds a job for somebody with, especially dexterous fingers, which of course he's a marionette guy, so his fingers are very dexterous. It's on the 7.5 floor of the Merton Flemmer building. He goes there and they do filing. Very uninteresting. He meets his eccentric boss, Dr. Lester, and he gets a job. While he's filing there, he first of all, he meets Maxine, who's kind of this seductress who works in the building as well, that he's totally drawn to. But he also discovers this door hidden behind a filing cabinet. He goes, it's like a little, this big, like a hobbit door, basically. He climbs in there and discovers it leads to the mind of famed actor John Malkovich, which, we've seen from In the Line of Fire and a few other things. Anyway, he basically can see through Malkovich's eyes and experience what Malkovich experiences. Then he gets spit out by the side of the New Jersey Turnpike. So he leaves. He immediately rushes back to Maxine to try to impress her because she's shown no interest in him at all. And they decide to basically use this for money. Basically, they put an ad in the paper. Have you ever wanted to be somebody else? Now you can. So they are getting money from just people coming in off the street, going in and experiencing life as John Malkovich for 15 minutes. He shows it to his wife, who experiences it, and it changes her life. She wants to go. Now she feels she's like a transsexual. She wants to go have sexual reassignment surgery. Anyway, one thing leads to another. I don't want to give away everything. Malkovich finds out what's going on. We discover there's a much more sinister plot afoot. I'll tell you what, this is one of the issues with the B Movie Club, because I'm afraid about giving too much information, but some of these movies are so complex that it's hard to encapsulate it in one or two sentences. Needless to say, it is streaming instantly on Netflix. Rush out and see it. If you haven't seen it, it was nominated for a bunch of awards. And what's funny is John Malkovich plays himself, but he kind of plays the perception of who John Malkovich is. What people think he is or what he's about. when Charlie Kaufman, who's the writer of the script, when he originally wrote it, he went about, and a lot of people were really interested. Like, he sent it to Francis Ford Coppola, who handed it to his daughter, Sofia Coppola, who was an up-and-coming director at that time. And she handed it to the guy she was dating, I think her husband, actually, Spike Jonze, who's more famous for doing music videos. He read the script and was like, we're doing it. I'm signing up for this. And they went around to studios with it. And more than one studio was like, can it be Being Tom Cruise? Or something like that. They wanted it to be a more household name than John Malkovich. A lot of people know John Malkovich, but your average person on the street is like, I have no idea. And they actually kind of play that up in this movie, where it's like, he's in one scene, John Malkovich gets in a cab, and the cab driver's like, you're that actor guy. And he's like, yes. John, Mapplethorpe? He's like, Malkovich. He's like, oh yeah, Malkovich. I really liked you in that one movie. Thank you. You know, the one where you played the jewel thief? I never played a jewel thief. So there's a lot of those scenes where it's like people kind of recognize him as being somebody famous, but they don't know what he's been in, which is probably true for the real John Malkovich, by the way. Malkovich actually was totally into the script. He just didn't want to be in it. He was like, I will help you in any way I can, but I'm not interested in being in it. Why don't we change it and find somebody else? But it was always being John Malkovich. Like, when they wrote the script, it was being John Malkovich. Eventually, he warmed to the idea and agreed to do it. So, it's funny. They keep calling him John Horatio Malkovich in the movie. Believe it or not, that's not his real middle name. So it's kind of a false John Malkovich nonetheless. It is so bizarre that it's hysterical, I feel. There's a lot of little crazy things that occur in it. I don't want to give away all the good stuff. I posted one of my favorite scenes on Facebook. So if you had a chance to take a look at that, it is hilarious. Hilarious. So again, I highly recommend it. It is currently 98% fresh. It's actually certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, so you know it's good. It's not for everybody because, like I said, it is wildly bizarre. Charlie Kaufman, who wrote it, later went on to write Adaptation with Nicolas Cage, which is another totally bizarre movie that I totally thought was hysterical. Again, that one was with Meryl Streep, and Chris Cooper won an Academy Award for it. Anyway, check that one out as well. Next week, we are doing Teen Wolf, starring Michael J. Fox. I was torn whether I wanted to do Teen Wolf, and I posted this on Facebook several weeks ago, because it's not exactly a comedy. It's kind of a drama, kind of a coming-of-age thing. It pushes itself like it's a comedy, but it's more kind of unintentionally funny than actually trying to be funny. But anyway, that's also streaming instantly on Netflix. Check it out. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out-of-context quote, and here it is. It's lonely here in my isolated tower of indecipherable speech. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Anyway, thanks again for joining us. Next week, Teen Wolf. Send me your questions, comments. I also have been putting up B-movie flashbacks on Facebook where you can go back and see some of the episodes maybe you haven't seen thus far. So, thanks for joining us, and be well.